Today we're working on a pair of Jordan Olympic 5s. In this condition, they're pretty much shoes that nobody wants, so I was able to get these for $10. These shoes are absolutely disgusting. The leather is cracked all over, they need a full repaint, and the soles need to be unyellowed. First thing we gotta do is take these laces out and see what's going on inside. These laces are so far gone, so we're just gonna throw them out. After taking a quick look inside, yeah, that's not looking too good. These insoles have to come out. And this one was giving a lot of resistance. Using our trusty scissor, we can break down whatever's trapped in there. I can't imagine how this even got here, but I found a rusty staple inside the other shoe. The same thing goes for the insoles. Underneath the size tag, I found some more lint. It's crazy to think that all this dirt was hiding inside these two shoes. We can start our cleaning process. I'm using laundry detergent and water. I need to break down the stains on the mesh, so I'm using a mixture of OxiClean and water. After it's all said and done, cold cycle 15 to 30 minutes. After the shoes are dried, I decided to tackle the yellowing. We might be able to unyellow the netting, so I'm going to give it a shot. Do not try this on the newer pairs. I tried unyellowing these for around 2 to 3 days and they kind of just tapped out. Now these shoes are extremely worn, so going into this process, I wasn't expecting too much. The most tedious part of this restoration is trying to get the leather back to normal. There's a bunch of different things that we can do, but first we're going to start with sandpaper. I started with a really low grit, and then I worked up to around 800 or so. The surface is looking much better, but we're not done yet. We'll have to use leather filler. But first we need to remove the factory finish, and I'm using acetone and cotton balls. We need to smoothen it out and let it dry. Then when it dries, we can sand it down. And I repeated this step around 2 to 3 times. It looks much better now, but there's still one more thing we can do. But first we need to lay down some wet paint. You can also use a heat gun to speed up the process. After we have around 2 to 3 coats laid down, I'm moving on to a method called wet sanding. Basically, you take a wet piece of high grit sandpaper and you sand it back and forth. Basically, it pushes the paint into all those crevices. And like before, we can also use a heat gun. You'll start to notice that it's going to eat away at the paint layers, so just repeat this cycle until you're satisfied. I repeated this step around 2 to 3 times. At this point, I think we're good enough. If there's no cracking on your midsoles, you don't have to clean the whole thing. So using some rubbing alcohol and cotton balls, I try to remove the factory finish as much as I can. We can move on to the secondary color, and I'm using metallic gold. It took maybe around 3 to 4 coats of this gold color, and then I went in with the black. Using a small paintbrush, you can actually freehand this midsole, and it turned out pretty good. There's a speckle on the gold that we need to replicate, so I taped up the surrounding areas, and using a paintbrush, I was able to flick on the black paint. It's pretty uncontrollable as you can see, so you may want to tape up better than this. We can also add our own dots by using a needle or a toothpick. It looks good enough, so I'm going to spray on some Krylon matte finisher, and when it completely dries, I'll come back and clean up any spills. The last steps are to poke out the thread holes and lace them up. If you guys made it this far, thank you so much, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. Please be sure to drop a like, and I'll see you next time.